Hello, 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 hello. I thought I'd do a quick channel update since we're at the start of August and I've been rather lax at the moment. Just been really busy. So I've actually got two projects on the go. The first one is a whole engine that I'm writing, my own graphics engine, in Vulkan. So it's here. I've been doing some interesting things with it. So one of the interesting things that I've actually pulled in from doing a very similar stuff at work, or someone else did it, is using Tracy to trace out the timings of things. So that might be a video series I do later. It's not finished at all yet. I'm literally in the middle of playing about with Vulkan, learning how it works, setting things up. This is part of a self-improvement project, which is quite happily been sponsored by my employers. So they've been buying me some nice books and things. So I've got the official Vulkan programming guide, and from Pact, the Vulkan cookbook by Pavel Lapinski. So both of those have been read and gone through at the moment. Separately, I have this one as well. This is a raw engine. What's a raw engine? Well, a raw engine is literally, I'm drawing everything myself. I'm not drawing everything myself. I'm using SDL to draw, but I'm doing all the mathematics, all the vector multiplication. I've just been setting things up in orthographic mode. So this is a three-dimensional triangle actually, but it's just a triangle in this example. But we can do things like we can scale it automatically. You know, we can move it around. We can do all sorts of bits and bobs. I actually need to make that movement size bigger. But this is actually rendering 6,500 frames a second. I'm drawing the points, I'm drawing the lines. I have a shape class that maps the geometry to the primitives being drawn. You know, I have a point is rendered literally in SDL. Ditto for a line. I actually draw the line myself. And you know, this is my own, this will be my own mathematical way of working. So I think you just saw the matrix multiplication function, which is here, input, output, things. So part of this was taken from one lone coder, but I actually now have a book. If I actually just turn on a video capture device. So I'm going through this old book of mine. Now I actually have a pair of these. I read these at university. This one is from the 70s, this one is from the 60s. These are the sort of, they aren't the original, but they're very good references on working with matrices and vectors. And I hadn't read these since the mid-90s. When you've lived in, you know, system software engineering for such a long time, when you can come back to game stuff or playing about things, I've let GLM, you know, the math library do this, or DirectX Math. I've just let them do all the maths for me. And I was playing about this and thinking, why don't I play about? I don't care about things like single instruction, multiple data optimization. I don't really care about making it as quick as possible. I just wanted to refresh my knowledge and my experience to make sure that I knew what was going on. And sure enough, you know, so this is, so I'm doing a matrix scale here. It's a bit too wild. I think I'm scaling by 10% per key click, and it's happening at like 6,000 frames a second. But you know, I've done things like I have an input binding system that's taking the key code for SDL and mapping it to a lambda. So this is changing the movement. This is the translation. This is the scale you've just seen me use. This is the camera position. When I want to move the camera, we'll be moving it with the numpad keys. You know, here's my matrix projection stuff. And I have done this work, so I'm just enjoying doing it. And you know, I'm actually putting in rotation now, but this is from one lone coder's stuff. My matrix isn't on there. Where is my matrix? I don't think I've included it yet. There it is, it's here. So it's not, I've not regenerated the code yet. But here's my matrix multiplication. So I've actually got X, Y, Z, and I've actually done it implicitly inline so I can see what's going off at each point. And then I've done it as a generic function to go through each row, multiplying it out. And you know, I'm doing it myself. I'm doing everything manually. That might be a useful video series for me, really, not for anybody else. I say One Lone Coder, which I'll link below, has a much better series on it. He's done a really good job. There's a few things I question about it. So, for example, his code example for matrix multiply here. I don't like the order of this input-output matrix. They're both ins, so should they be, what are they? Are you editing I? No, so don't make it editable, make it const. There's just things that he does that I wouldn't do myself, just out of force of habit. But I've drawn my shapes completely differently. I can't even remember what he's using. He's using his underlining engine stuff, but I'm using SDL. So I literally initialize SDL in my main here. I've got my timing stuff myself. I set my default key mapping. So the only default mapping is escape, which sets quit to true. I've got this generic rendering of my renderables. So I have two types of renderable primitives, lines and points at the moment. I have a Windows resize event function which lets me, resize the stuff and reset all the viewpoints. But apart from that, this is just my own thing. Again, if you think this is any use to you guys, I thought I'd say that. Apart from that, in the whole lockdown situation, we've had issues with the Neighbours, and they've now settled the case out of court. So we've sued our neighbours, which has been really rather stressful. They're still in breach of the terms of the order, so I don't know quite how they're going to sort that out, but they need to. We're waiting for our many thousands of pounds to come back to us because they've had to pay the whole thing, less one fee I think we had to pay to get it all sorted. But we had to chase them, so they were meant to settle on the 24th, and the money only arrived to our solicitors on the 31st, which is, yeah. So it's all just been a lot of stress. We've also had the rabbit. My injury has healed. I don't know if you saw my blog post. I'll link that below as well. But yeah, get yourself some squared paper, get yourself some books, and do yourself some code. And I will see you in the rest of August.